Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Well, we are back. Welcome back, everybody. It is News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. I am Andrew Langer, in for Larry O'Connor today, alongside Hans von Spakovsky. Good morning, Hans.
Good morning, Andrew. One more hour, and then we're right. We're both going into the kitchen to cook, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are. Happy Thanksgiving to you. By the way, it is 8:07 a.m. on News Talk 105.9. We got a great show still to come. Hans and I are going to talk a little bit more about Thanksgiving, especially in light of what we just heard about the frying of turkeys. By the way, make sure your turkey is completely thawed. Make sure that it is bone dry on the outside when you put it in. That's how you prevent things from exploding. We got Louie Gohmert joining us, a former member of Congress from the great state of Texas. So excited to bring him on. And by the way, I would be remiss before we bring on our guest. Congratulations to the Washington Capitals last night. Great victory over the Winnipeg Jets. It was a fantastic game to watch. They honored Ovi at the beginning for hitting his 900th career goal. That was so much fun to watch, and then some amazing goals by the Caps last night. Listen, joining us right now, I haven't seen him in a bit. It's been a bit, Chuck. Chuck Devore, he is an executive of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. He served in both the National Guard and the Reserves, and an intelligence officer. And Chuck, I know your heart's going out to the families of these National Guardsmen. Your reaction, your immediate reaction to what happened yesterday in D.C.?
Well, I mean, first, my earnest prayers go out to the two injured soldiers and their families. Just a terrible incident. My immediate reaction, though, is that, number one, the members of the Guard are doing their jobs. Washington, D.C. is so much safer now because of their presence, because of their professionalism. It's a different city. It's been transformed. And you see that wherever they go. They're citizen soldiers. They do this out of love of nation. And they're just folks like you and me, right? I mean, a lot of folks don't even know that they have National Guard members as neighbors because they often leave so early in the morning on Saturday and Sunday for drill, you don't see them because you're still sleeping. And so that having been said, though, let's go back to your opening. I'm still wrapping my head around Hans in the kitchen helping with Thanksgiving.
Right.
I don't know as if I believe that. I think that is perhaps fake news.
He's making oyster dressing.
Yeah, I have to admit, Chuck and I have known each other for a while, and I have to tell people, the Texas Public Policy Foundation is a terrific think tank that works on all kinds of issues. But I also got to emphasize what you just said, Chuck, which is I'm in D.C. every work day, and there is a palpable difference since the Guard got there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you look at the incident, though, I think that here's the most remarkable thing about it. You have a guy, this Afghan national who had this very rapid ambush-like shooting, and very quickly there was return fire, and by all indication, it appears that the return fire was from the Guard members, perhaps even one of the two people who were engaged initially. That shows good training. It shows awareness. It shows that they are not defenseless, as some people, mostly on the left, have been saying. It shows that Guard members, by the way, just like their active duty counterparts, they receive all of the same initial training that their active duty counterparts do. So it's not like it's some second-rate force, not at all.
Right. And Chuck, by the way, Kurt Schlichter sends his best. He was on with us in the last hour. He texted me to make sure that I let you know that he says
That's
hi.
Great.
You and he both, as Kurt was telling us, both served as officers in reserve units, National Guard units. Talk about who these people are who who answer the call to serve in this way.
Well, great. Yeah, Kurt and I were both in the Los Angeles riots in 1992. Yeah. Kurt's an attorney. I worked in the aerospace industry. And so if you look at the typical profile of a Guard member compared to active duty, they're usually a little bit older. That's partially because we have a lot of veterans. A lot of people who served in the Army, or in the case of the National Guard in California and Southern California, a lot of Marines because of the huge presence of Camp Pendleton.
Right.
So when a Marine gets out, and if they still want to serve, they often join the National Guard. Some college students, people looking for some financial support to get through college. A lot of first responders. So we have a higher proportion of people who were sheriff's deputies or police officers or firefighters, because the same impetus for service that pushes someone into serving as a police officer is the same thing that pushes someone into raising the right hand and swearing an oath to the Constitution as a citizen soldier. And so we have this pretty wide array of people who serve in the Guard, who come from all walks of life. And I think one of the key things that you'll see versus the active duty is, as I mentioned before, they're a little older, and what that tends to cause is a better ability to have situational awareness, a
Right.
better ability to look at a situation, especially in something as sensitive as being in a major city, and understanding whether something is truly a threat or not, or how to respond to civilians who might be in distress. Guard members are perhaps a little less likely to put their finger on the trigger because they've been there, they've done that, they've been around for a while. And so I think that's one of the advantages of having Guard members in cities versus, let's say, an active duty unit of Marines who are going to have a completely different vibe about them.
Chuck, look, you work on immigration issues a lot. I mean, part of the issue here, certainly with the person who unfortunately tried to assassinate these National Guard members, is that, look, during the Biden administration, more illegal aliens were let into the country deliberately and intentionally than in our entire history, and there was almost no vetting done of any of them, right?
Well, that's correct. And in the case of this Afghanistan national, you have a second additional problem, which was the chaotic and rapid nature of the withdrawal out of Afghanistan. And you have this issue where you have a nation that was never all that good at central government. So where do you have the records? Like, how do you even know if someone from Afghanistan has an arrest record?
Right.
Probably you don't, because of the nature of the Afghan government, which, again, was never all that great at having any sort of centralized government with any sort of record-keeping system. And so, look, there's a dilemma here, right? You have a lot of people who had served in Afghanistan. They had translators. They had people who helped out that they had grown close to, that they certainly wanted to get out of the country because they feared for their lives in the wake of the Taliban takeover. And the flip side is you have a lot of people who in the chaos took advantage and claimed connections, or perhaps were connected tenuously, but you just had no idea of their mental state. And so, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the first incident of this type. Not only from people who came here from Afghanistan, but Hans, as you point out, the millions of people who came here from elsewhere, which is, as the president reminds us frequently, came from insane asylums and prisons. That is true. That's not just a presidential talking point. That is actually the case.
Absolutely. Listen, Chuck, we have to leave it there. Thank you so very much for joining us on Thanksgiving, my friend.
My pleasure.
Have a great one and enjoy. Eat a piece of turkey for all of us. That's Chuck Devore. He's with the Texas Public Policy Foundation, also retired Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army. We got so much more to come, but first it is 8:15 a.m. WMAL traffic and weather. Every 10 minutes, first on the fives. Here's Vania Brown in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. Talking about specifically what happened yesterday in the aftermath. A lot of misinformation flying around in the afternoon because the shooting happened the day before Thanksgiving in D.C. Thankfully, it was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so not a lot of people downtown at 2 in the afternoon. Press conference held a little after 4 o'clock by the White House in a corner of Farragut Square. Here is FBI Director Kash Patel. Let's play cut number 4.
Please send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made.
And as Chuck mentioned, we now know, at least the suspect in this is an Afghanistan immigrant who had come here as a refugee, Ramanullah Lakwanwal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. Came to U.S. in 2021 during the chaos of the botched Biden withdrawal from Afghanistan. Didn't apply for asylum, though, until last year. Apparently it was granted. The president said this last night. Let's go ahead and play cut number 6, Michael.
We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city.
So, Hans, I didn't pull this audio. I'm probably going to pull it for tomorrow's show. Secretary Mayorkas was called in front of Congress to testify about the vetting of the Afghan refugees. He had to finally admit that they weren't being vetted as carefully. And as Chuck points out, we don't have a lot of the records from Afghanistan. Your thoughts here?
Well, yeah. I mean, this was part of the whole general program of the Biden administration of not vetting aliens coming in, not only from Afghanistan, but across the entire southern border.
Right.
Their policy basically was when illegal aliens, first of all, they'd let them cross. When Texas tried to stop it, they went to court to prevent Texas from stopping it. They would detain the aliens, create a record. Who knows if any of it was true, because most of them didn't have any ID, and then they would release them.
Right.
There was no vetting going on. That is so reckless and so dangerous, and we are going to be living with the consequences of that for, frankly, maybe decades to come. And at the same time, as you know, Andrew, every time they catch a criminal, illegal alien, he is painted as a hero by leftist politicians and even the media like MS.
Right. And this is exactly, waiting to see what is said about this person this morning. By the way, the other part of this, of course, is the I'm not going to say that it's benign. I'm going to say that it's malignant. The rhetoric that's been used to paint National Guardsmen, both in D.C. and elsewhere, as fascists, as tools of the state, the reaction of the left to this, and essentially blaming Trump and blaming the National Guard themselves, when, as you and I both pointed out on the show today, I have felt safer in D.C., safer than I have in a very long time in D.C. because of that National Guard presence. Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced that they're bringing more troops to D.C. Let's play cut number 7, Michael.
We will never back down. We will secure our capital. We will secure our cities. In fact, this happened just steps away from the White House. It will not stand. And that's why President Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of the Army, to the National Guard, to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic. The increase in safety and security has been historic. But if criminals want to conduct things like this, violence against America's best, we will never back down. President Trump will never back down. That's why the American people elected him.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going into town tomorrow to watch the Caps take on Toronto. Puck drops at 5 p.m. I'm going to be interested to see what it looks like on the ground. Hans, I think you're probably breathing a great sigh of relief that we've got more troops coming in.
Oh yeah. And by the way, for all the lefty talking heads and others who are going to say, the president can't do this. This is somehow an unlawful order. Maybe those 6 members of Congress could say that. Sorry, but under federal law, the president is the commander of the D.C. National Guard, the way governors are in other states. So it is perfectly legal and lawful for the president to do this.
And
no
Hans
matter
has a
no matter what any
Vanderbilt,
court,
so yes.
Yeah, no matter what any crazy federal judge may say.
Right, it's D.C., baby. You gotta get used to it. Listen, we got so much more to get to. It's 8:23 on WMAL. It is 8:25 now. WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives. Former Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert joins me and Hans in just a couple of minutes. It's 8:30. Welcome back, everybody. This is O'Connor and Company on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. It is 8:37. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry today on Thanksgiving, sitting alongside Hans von Spakovsky. Hello, Hans. Happy Thanksgiving to you, good sir.
Yeah, good morning to you, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Well, getting geared up for the day. Hans and I are going to talk about Thanksgiving in just a couple of minutes and what we're both doing. I teased it with him and his oyster dressing that he's making later on. He's going to tell us all about that. Joining us right now, one of my favorite members of Congress of all time. The man, something, it's so funny, Congressman Gohmert, we were just talking with an historian a couple of minutes ago who reminded us that this coming January is the 250th anniversary of the publication of Thomas Paine's Common Sense. And, when I think of common sense in Washington, D.C., I think of you. I think of a great many of the proposals that you pointed out all were rooted in this idea of common sense.
Wow.
We've lost all of that, haven't we, good sir?
Well, you're awfully kind. Man, it's great to be talking to both of you, Andrew.
Thanks.
Hans, thank you. Man, what a compliment. I need to talk to you guys more often.
Thank you. Absolutely. Listen, anytime you want an ego boost, Congressman, all you have to do is pick up the phone and give me a call. And
Right,
I'll make sure we're there.
we have to say,
Love it. Yeah.
Watching the congressman cross-examine witnesses.
Oh,
boy,
yes.
You were so good at that. I really miss seeing that.
Well, that's the one thing I miss about Congress is not being able to fuss at the people that are screwing up my country.
Right.
That's just infuriating. But you guys are doing a great job, by the
Thanks.
way. I've enjoyed listening to you and such great analysis. And you betcha the president is the commander of what's going on in D.C. It is a federal enclave, and thank you for pointing that out. And I'm a senior fellow now with the David Horowitz Freedom Center. And David, we lost him this year, and Charlie Kirk did such a great tribute to him at his small memorial. But David, over the years, would constantly point out, back when he was a communist leader in the late 60s, early 70s, he would say, you got to keep in mind that as Marxists,
Right.
as a Marxist leader, our slogan was the worse, the better.
Right.
And as the Islamists have come in, the radical Islamists, and have joined forces with the Marxists, they've taken that up. The worse, the better. The more chaos they can create,
Right.
the closer they are to taking over. Without an outright revolution, just the chaos gets them closer to the takeover of our republic.
Absolutely.
Of our losing the republic. And so this kind of chaos you're seeing, boy, did Biden give them just a huge jump up, a leg up on getting that chaos by letting these people in. Now, it broke my heart out. All the trips I'd made to Afghanistan, meeting with our allies over there, the Northern Alliance that fought with us and for us, and they had to flee for their lives. I don't
Right.
know how many of my friends lost their lives. I don't know how many got away. I know some of the leaders did. That I've learned where some of them went, but I don't know where some of them, if they got away or not. But we know that Biden welcomed plane loads of these people, and it increased the opportunity for chaos to
Right.
come in. But I just think about David saying, Louis, don't forget our motto, the worse the better. And this is one example of that. They join forces, the worse the better, the more chaos. Yeah, it may seem like an individual act of chaos, but it is an overall theme. We're going to see more of it. And it's Happy Thanksgiving.
Right.
Thank God and thank Donald J. Trump for being willing to hang in there through all the warfare, the lawfare, everything, because if he had not won that election, we would be so close to losing this republic. And, as Ben Franklin said, we would not have kept it. We would have lost it. So thank God he's there. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, God, that he did win. Thank you, Trump, that you hung in there. We got a chance to defeat that, and that's what you're seeing happen right now.
Louie, producer Heather has the day off today, but she wanted me to make sure that that we miss your ribs, your grilling ribs on the balcony of the house. And I got to ask, because Hans and I are about to start talking about cooking in just a couple of minutes. What are you making? Are you smoking a turkey? Are you making a brisket? Are you going to make beef ribs? What do you got going on down in Texas for Thanksgiving?
I cooked turkey all night long, and I still cook my ribs here in Texas, and
I don't know if you know this, Congressman. My brother and I took first place in the Williamsburg Pro-Am cooking our pork ribs.
No kidding.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
We haven't won since,
That's
but
fantastic.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I got accosted by the architect of the Capitol guy, some years back, and he said, "You can't do that." And I said, "Well, I am doing it. I'm taking the last of the ribs off." And he said, "Well, you can't do that." I said, "Well, you let people go out here to cigarettes."
Right.
So I'm out here smoking ribs. And anyway, God bless Steve Scalise. He intervened for me,
right.
And we had to set up a meeting with the architect of the Capitol, the chief of the Capitol Police, and the building superintendent, and the fire marshal, and all these people, and we worked out a deal. I gave them 2 weeks' notice, and I cooked once a quarter.
There you
go. Even Bush, said, "Hey, I hear everybody else got ribs. I never got any ribs." I
Right.
felt like I was going to breakfast or dinner on the grounds. I came to the White House with a big pan of ribs. And anyway, and they loved them. So anyway, thanks for remembering. So even the Democrats loved them. Yeah.
There's two things about that. One, Andrew, you shouldn't have said you made pork ribs because no Texan,
I know.
no Texan believes pork.
I know. I know
pork
they
is
use beef ribs. I get it. Yes,
right.
I understand this.
Louis, it's lucky that Steve Scalise stepped in for you because you know that in D.C. they don't mind letting murderers, carjackers, rapists out of jail. But if they had arrested you for barbecuing, they would have kept you in prison.
Oh yeah.
Listen,
well,
this is...
and that goes. They were looking that they got our records,
right?
A whole bunch of us, and they were looking for anything and everything, and that was so outrageous. And I know both of you. You remember back William Jefferson. When it had the $90,000.
Oh yeah, it is his refrigerator. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, having been a judge, I thought at the time, my gosh, they've got plenty of evidence. That warrant was justified to search his home, find the $90,000 cold hard cash. They had plenty of evidence for that. But people don't realize historically, for the history of our country, if you had a warrant to go to a congressman's office, you didn't just go and grab everything. You went to House counsel, and you said, "Here, we have a warrant." And then the counsel went in and grabbed everything.
Right.
And then House counsel's lawyers went through everything to protect everything that was protected by congressional privilege. Because, Jim Jordan and I, back at the time that they were seizing our records, we were talking about, we had FBI whistleblowers that were contacting us and DOJ whistleblowers. They had no right to know those things, and yet they were grabbing our records without probable cause. That's Fourth Amendment violations, but also congressional violations. And so, anyway, back then with William Jefferson, that went. We had an idiot. I think I don't know who the judge was. Maybe it was Boasberger. I'm not sure, but they allowed this process where the DOJ said, "Oh, there won't be any problem because we've got some lawyers in the DOJ. They're going to process and tell you what's privileged and what's not."
I appreciate.
And the D.C. Circuit Court said, "No, you can't do that."
Congressman, unfortunately, we have to leave there because we got to go to traffic because folks are getting on the roads for Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope to see you again soon.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Love listening.
Take care. Right, listen, it is 8:45 now, WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes, first on the fives. Here's Vania Brown in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
WMAL, making sense of the vote because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
So, Hans, you're sitting at the table later on. What's the first thing you're going to go for on that plate of Thanksgiving food?
Oh, definitely the turkey my wife makes. She has a very special thing. She rubs the outside actually with mayonnaise.
Really?
Yes, and when you roast it like that, it not only keeps it moist, gives the skin just a wonderful flavor.
Interesting. You know, I kind of like that. For me, it's the I'm the dark meat. Are you a dark meat guy, light meat guy?
Yes, I like dark meat.
I'm a dark meat guy as well. I'm looking forward to that. Some good crackling skin as well. Looking forward to my green bean casserole. You're making your famous oyster dressing.
I am, and I saw yesterday Fox had a story about the 6 foods that were traditional disappeared from Thanksgiving, and I saw that oyster dressing was one of them.
Interesting. Yeah, I know. A lot of folks just can't, as they would say, grok around that. Your final thoughts for Thanksgiving, Hans?
Well, I do have to mention for our listeners in Virginia, that Virginia, claims that they celebrated Thanksgiving 2 years before those copycats in Plymouth did, when a shipload of colonists came in and landed on the James River.
That's I've heard this, and certainly a stone's throw away from where I live. Listen, I want to tell you all, thankful for the opportunities as always to sit in with you on these holidays. One more day filling in for Larry tomorrow. I want to thank the team. Michael and Jeff, who are in studio with us today. And, of course, Hans sitting in. Listen, I'll leave you all with this. It is Thanksgiving, and obviously we have many things to be thankful for, the blessings of liberty, etc. But as you get out there on the road, all I ask is that you remember that everybody out there is your brother, everybody out there is your sister. We're all carrying a lot of stress this holiday season, as we always do. So just, as they say, show a little grace, show a little love, show a little forgiveness out there on the road, but have a joyous and wonderful Thanksgiving. It is 8:53. It is 8:55 now. WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives. Here's Vania Brown in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. Well, listen, I will be back tomorrow with Patrice Onwuka to celebrate Black Friday with her. I want to wish you all the best, most joyous, most grateful, and thankful Thanksgiving to you and yours. Please have a great day, everybody. Have fun. Stay safe.